gentlemen, Nashville native Deana Carter. Hey, how are you? You're sparkled up too, girl. Here's your microphone.
Okay.
Well, just
Thank you.
have a seat.
Thank you. How are y'all doing?
We call this just visiting.
I know. I brought my glasses in case I have to read anything.
Well, hopefully not. But at the end, some folks may. I know you've got to go to your show.
Yes.
But all the artists have been so kind to sign as quickly as they can and get on to their next thing. So you may have to read an autograph thing or two, Miss Deana.
Yes, I'm happy to.
It is a treat to meet you.
You too.
I have never had the chance to talk with you, and this kind of forum is just like how we visit on Sundays down south.
I love this. You know, it's funny. I'm from Nashville. You
Yep.
mentioned born and raised. And what's been really nice, this is my first cruise, country cruise. Thank you for being patient with me, learning the ropes. But we come all the way down to, Cozumel, all this way from Nashville just to meet you and meet and to be with my friends, other artists from Nashville and their bands and their crew and people that, I don't get to see as much. Because we're always working. Our paths cross on the road, but it's just so cool to be together in this one place.
I know, it
and
is.
pass each other, and when we're eating dinner and seeing each other in their bathing suits out by the pool. But it's so fun. So we came all this way. We get to sit down together finally.
I'm excited.
So thank you.
I'm excited to visit with her, and I want you to be thinking about maybe some things that you'd like to ask her at the end, and I want to open that up because I'd like to start with the elephant in the room because I know you've been asked this a million bajillion times, but I have to because it was the defining part of your career, and I made a joke about it changed the wine industry, but no doubt it did. Let's talk strawberry wine just for a minute. Do you ever tire of it?
No.
Singing it, talking about it?
I never do, and I never will because Matresa Berg and Gary Harrison penned my life story. I mean, to the T. And come to find out it was everybody's life story, right?
Oh.
It sure did feel like it, but I mean, the specifics were so close to home for me very personally.
Huh.
And I had been a fan of Matresa's for a long time. She was an artist at the time. She had a deal, and I just loved her music. She was sort of alt, now it's called Americana. But back then in the late 80s and early 90s, they didn't really have a category for artists like her. Mm-hmm. She was, and I knew she went to my high school. It's just such a long history that she and I have. Our parents worked together.
Y'all, I did not know any of this.
Yes.
Wow. Did y'all know all this? You know who Matresa Berg is, right?
She's a songwriter in Nashville, and her mother's name was Icy Berg, and she was...
I didn't know that.
She was a background singer in Nashville along with Matresa's aunts. And my dad was a guitar player, Fred Carter Jr., and he played on all the major, thousands and thousands of hit songs and records. So they would work together. So it's just really kismet to have had that song. I could go on about this song and the process for hours, y'all. You'll miss your next thing if I.
Well, you're the next thing.
Let's do it. Let's be late for my own show.
Wouldn't that be fun? We just all got to talking, and I'm sorry. We just couldn't make it.
Yes.
No, well, please, you just take the reins because I haven't had the pleasure, no doubt, because these are a lot of folks that have come many, many years, and this is your first time on this cruise.
Yeah.
So we want to get to know you.
Thank you.
In an intimate way like that. So just keep on going about strawberry wine, and we'll dive into other things. But,
okay.
But I do want to hear that.
Well, it's such a special thing because I'd been on Capitol for quite a few years, Capitol Records, and the label had shifted, and new people come in, and you don't know what your future holds. If you're going to get dropped or kept, or so there was a lot of limbo time. And Scott Hendricks took over Capitol when Jimmy Bowen left.
Scott Hendricks would be Blake Shelton's producer.
Yes.
Now with Warner Music, and huge guy
who used to be mainly an engineer. Who had a big sailboat on his desk because that was his dream, was to have a sailboat and go sailing. But anyway, we're on a boat.
He did.
Thought I should. So he took over, and so I'd done this whole record, and they wanted me to go in and do more songs. And they wanted me to bring in a few songs that I did not write, which as a writer was very intimidating. And I went, and Matresa, I heard Strawberry Wine at a campfire.
At a campfire.
Like gathering where
like a
you
little just a
guitar
hang,
pool
a
kind
guitar
of thing.
pool, yeah, okay.
And so she demoed that, and we danced anyway on the same session. And she brought I was like, those are mine. I'm taking those to the label. So I walked those songs in to a listening session. And I said, if I'm going to record outside music, I have to have these two.
And you're a new artist.
Yep. And I
showing your
co-produced that
muscle.
record.
What? You
Co-produced.
co-produced your own record?
I sure did.
As a first-time artist?
Yep.
That doesn't happen.
Especially in 1990. Well, I started in 93 with Bowen, and we finished in 96.
This was 96 when you...
Yeah.
Was it intimidating to walk in with those two tunes?
Oh, no. I knew if I had the possibility of not staying on the label, that I was still going to be authentic to myself, and that the music had to mean something to me, and it had to sound different, and it had to be authentic, like I wasn't pretending.
You had nothing to lose, in other words.
Exactly.
You were like, I'm going for it. I don't know what my future is, but I know I love this.
So they said, okay, and never intended to put Strawberry Wine out. We had another single. I've Loved Enough to Know was the first single. We had the video done and everything in the can, and Bob Eubanks was in that video.
The game show guy,
yes.
Bob Eubanks?
He played a genie in that video.
Wow.
And I've Loved Enough. You might be able to see it on my YouTube channel. I think we have it on my channel.
That's interesting.
But anyway, we were out at radio, and we were doing our radio promo, and we'd play I've Loved Enough to Know, the cassette.
So wait a minute. You're on the radio tour.
Yes.
Which is what artists do for weeks before they launch a single.
Yes.
To pump that single, right?
Right.
Okay, sorry, I'm just filling in the gaps.
Thank
I have
you,
to remember.
because
I have to remember myself. My husband was an artist, and it's, going on a radio tour is a big deal.
It's a big deal. And we were 10 weeks behind Leanne Rimes in Blue.
Wow.
You guys remember that? What a
Right,
huge,
yeah,
amazing
yeah.
song that was. So we were kind of on the heels of Leanne. And anyway, I went in and we played the recorded version of I Loved Enough to Know, the album version. That was our first single. And I would take my guitar and play acoustic versions of a few other songs on the record live on the air. And the phones started lighting up because Strawberry Wine was one of those that I played because I loved it so much. It was so personal to me. And the phones lit up, and everybody's like, we like that Strawberry song better than that other song y'all are trying to make us listen to. And
really?
So, yeah. And so my regional, I think we were in Dallas when they called Scott and said, or Scott called us and said, we're going to change the single.
Boy.
And we were already in motion. So this would be like if you work in whatever industry, you've got all your product already in the stores, and then they want to pull it all and go replace it with something else. And you're like, oh, no, how do we, But he said he would do it within 2 weeks so I wouldn't lose my release date, which was July 29th, 1996. And he did it. He was a hero. He turned it all around. We did a brand new video, pulled the old stuff, and we put it out. And I think it took like 16 weeks. It took forever for it to climb, but once it took off, it was just like wildfire, and the rest is history. So there you go.
For a radio geek like me in the 90s when I'm in Nashville, that's chill bumps because I will never, ever forget that climb because it may have taken a while to climb, but the buzz around Nashville was echoed all across the country because how long was it number one? How has that song changed your trajectory and your world? How much did it? How long did it stay at the top?
I think it was 3 weeks. I don't think it was even a real long stint. I think it was quick, but we came behind that with We Danced Anyway.
And that was a number one.
That was a number one song. And then we came with Count Me In. Oh, no, How Do I Get There?
And that was too, wasn't
That
it?
was a number one song. And then Count Me In came out. That was the number one song. And then Did I Shave My Legs for This? Which was a top 10, I think. So you can look it all up. It's, I don't remember all the exact numbers, but it was the first record for a new artist to have broken all those, or to set that kind of a...
I was about to say, no other female for certain
Right.
had done that,
Yeah.
but darn near nobody in our genre has ever done that.
I think Gretchen Peters is the one that came, after that, whatever, like 2006 or 7. It was about 10 years, right? Somewhere in there.
Gretchen Peters.
And I'm sorry, Gretchen Peters.
But
Gretchen Wilson. I'm sorry. Gretchen Peters is a songwriter.
Great songwriter.
Great songwriter.
Yeah. Gretchen Wilson.
Gretchen Wilson is who, forgive me, she's the one that came up behind and had a couple of hits like that. So that was a team effort, though. That's not Wings on Me. That is the team that we had and the music that we worked so hard for so many years to really hone and put together. That was a group. That was a whole lot of people that deserved a lot of credit for that.
Well, how big was the lump in your throat for all that time? I mean, that's colossal. That's huge. How did you manage it? How did you work it? How did you just live every day with that excitement and that thrill? That had to be, I can't even put it into words.
It was work. We kept working, we loved it. It was so exciting. You just, when you're in the middle of the storm, if you will, like a happy storm, right? But you're not seeing maybe what everybody else is seeing happening because you just have you back your ears, have your head down, and you're just work. As anything we could do, we did. We would do, and I was one of the first artists to be on country from Nashville, first female to be on the Jay Leno, the Tonight Show.
Wow.
Back in those days, y'all remember, doesn't it go so fast? Trends and time. Golly.
Jay Leno is a name that we haven't heard in a while.
So, this was before L.A. and New York thought Nashville was cool.
Right.
It wasn't happening for them yet, and they still had us in hay bales and like
Barefooted.
stereotyped and stuff.
Ponytails and
It's fine if we do it to ourselves, but don't y'all do it to us. You know what I mean?
Isn't that the truth?
And so anyway, you couldn't get on those shows, and I had LA management at the time, and they were able to cut through some red tape because they knew all the people out there. But the reason Jay Leno said that he put me on the show is because all the years I waitressed and did all these odd jobs, one of those jobs was at Zany's Comedy Club in Nashville. Have y'all ever heard of Zany's in Chicago and around? Mm-hmm. I was a waitress there. And I learned so much from those comedians. But anyway.
Like what?
Oh, my gosh. Just how, dead silence on stage will freak an artist out when there's, something goes wrong or you forget the words or, anything can happen. And I love it because comedians would use that pregnant pause to deliver their line or to really take in how people are receiving them or whatever. And the nights I'd cringe that they're on stage like, oh, man, they're going to blow it, And they would just it was such a craft and a gift of how they did that. It was amazing. But anyway, Jay Leno saw that I was a waitress at Zany's. And he said, I'm putting her on the show.
That caught his attention.
Yeah.
Just something different.
Had nothing, it wasn't even soaring at the time, and he did that for me. So that helped.
How do you handle that?
Oh, man. It's crazy. I think I went on that show barefoot. I had been barefoot on stage because I'd get nervous.
Yeah, what is
I'm half barefoot today. I'm halfway there.
Is it the energy that your feet touching the ground, the grounding? What is the barefoot appeal and love for you?
I think it just reminds me to not be on a high horse about anything.
Wow.
Honestly,
Well, I need to
feel
take
like
these off right now
no,
then. Dang. 'Cause that is high right there. And they
no.
hurt.
After a few festivals and stepping in all kinds of stuff backstage, and um, yeah, it was awful. I
That's
st-
funny. That's funny.
I started putting shoes on. Um,
That's
oh, I
really
know.
funny.
Yeah.
Stepping in the wrong things right before you're going on stage.
Yes. But I try to make, if I can take them off, sometimes I will. Festivals are fun when you're up there, to be able to run around barefoot and
Well,
just enjoy it.
We're not going to mind if you do that at all, right?
Thank
We're at
you.
home. Heck, I might just come out there and introduce you barefoot.
I know. You're welcome to.
I want to talk about growing up in Nashville.
Yes.
And go back to your father. You mentioned Fred Carter Jr. I mean,
Yes.
she said a lot of people, but name a few of those people. And if you have any stories of young Deana interacting with those people, because, I mean, we're talking legendary folks.
Legendary. So many records. I wish my brother Jeff would come out here and tell all of them. He's my baby brother, but he's a lot smarter than me. He studied a lot more of this stuff, and he plays with me. So if y'all come to the show
Okay.
tonight, you'll see Jeff, the blonde hair, on stage. People, I mean, Willie and Waylon and
That's enough right
El
there.
Paso, those signature things, Marty Robbins.
Wow.
It's like,
That's your dad?
yes, all these classical songs. His probably most famous outside, he played on Bob Dylan's records, Simon and Garfunkel, The Boxer, all that intro to The Boxer was my dad on those records.
God.
Jolene, I think he played lead on that.
No.
And I mean, I'm talking like so many records I can hear and I can tell. And he passed away in 2010.
Oh,
Thank you. So, we miss him so much, but it's such a legendary, wonderful thing to hear his sound, and it just is like a magnet for me.
is it?
I'll know. I think there was a couple of, especially on this boat, they're playing some classic things. And I keep saying, my daddy would love this boat.
Oh, that makes
He'd
my
love the
heart.
buffet, first of all.
Who
That sweet
doesn't?
stuff, the end with all
Oh.
those sweet rolls and stuff. I'm like, oh, man.
Girl,
yeah.
it's open after your show.
I know. And then the music on this boat, he would have loved that so much. But he just, there's a great picture of him and Bob Dylan and Charlie Daniels in the studio in Sony together doing a record, and just neat things. So many. He was on the road with Roy Orbison. He played with him, and just so many great artists. So many. And he produced the original version of Sammy Smith's "Help Me Make It Through the Night" on that record.
That's
Yeah,
my favorite
Isn't it?
country song.
He did. He
I
did.
had no idea.
Yeah, he was a cool daddy. He was cool.
Well, obviously the apple fell right underneath the tree. When did this bug start biting you?
Well, I think obviously around the house, he would always play his guitar. He was in the studio back when they had 10, 2, 6, and 10s.
Recording sessions.
Around the clock,
Mm-hmm.
10 a.m. they'd have a 10 p.m. session. Those are the wild days when you hear Willie and all them talk about those crazy days. But he was in the studio a lot. But when he was home, he would have his guitar and he would play all the music on the Bugs Bunny stuff. Like in the house, he would just, all the classical, he'd be playing it note for note.
Really?
And my brother and I were like, shut up, we're trying to watch TV, But he always had his guitar in his lap. He just loved music and he loved that instrument. And so I forgot you asked me something
When did
specific.
it bite you?
Oh, it bit me. I was just always aware of his colors. Like he was such a master of, he could play a position on the guitar, any chord, and all these different positions, and create different colors within the chords, sounds and finger positions and stuff. And that just intrigued me so much. and he was a huge fan of songwriter artists that were self-contained, like the Paul Simons and Willies and
James Taylor, things like
and
that.
Dolly and all the people that wrote their own music. That just floated his boat. He loved it. But I think that combination with going to my grandparents every Thanksgiving was our family time. My parents, we never took one vacation. We always went to the grandparents' house.
Oh, where
So
do they live?
In Winsboro, Louisiana.
Oh,
Yep.
you headed south.
Yes.
What was that like?
It was amazing. They had a farm
Yeah.
and like the song.
Yeah.
And
We're going to get back to that. I want to
Yes.
hear that personal connection.
but it was wonderful because all of my aunts and uncles and cousins, we'd all get together, and we're all like siblings, really. We're very close. I have like 22 first cousins on one side, and then,
Wow.
you know, a bunch on the other two. Lots of big family.
So when y'all went on your trips down to Louisiana,
Yes.
I think I stole your thought there when I wanted to know where was it. Did y'all play music on the way down? What
They'd play and sing. Everybody sang. You had to find a harmony part, or you had to do the dishes. You know, so but everybody sang, and my grandmother led the music in church at New Zion Baptist.
Oh.
And I had twin aunts on the piano and the organ, bookending the choir. All aunts and uncles are all in the choir. My twin aunts' names, this is the truth, Betty Joyce and Bobby Loyce. And so
That's country.
it was just part of life. They just were musical. So I would say this huge influence for me was gospel. I snuck a couple of Isaac songs before I had to go to sound check. I was standing in the back by the pool up there because I'm so excited. They're on this boat. They're amazing.
I am too. And tomorrow they do their gospel show.
Yes, don't miss 10 o'clock.
Please.
Up in the
Don't.
or down.
It's
I'm still lost on this boat.
It's down. It's down the hall. Yeah.
Yes,
It's down
yeah,
the
yeah,
hall
yeah.
and
Yes, yes,
down
yes.
yonder. Yeah. For a piece, right down the hall.
So I would say gospel music, my daddy, obviously, and singing in the choir myself and church growing up. I'd say that's a huge foundational thing for me.
Isn't that for a lot of country music artists?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that for me, as a fan, that gospel connection, you can just hear it. No matter if they're singing a song about Jesus or not, you can just hear the foundational aspects of. Did you start singing an alto part or start singing a soprano part, or what did you cling to?
Well, I learned them all because I felt like I would get moved in the choir. I think the older I got and the more I cheered in high school because my voice got raspier and deeper.
Sure.
So I went from soprano to alto and sometimes tenor and then back to alto, but alto was my favorite. And another big influence, and I can't really tell how old y'all are, but I have a feeling we're all in the same boat or close.
We are all in the same boat. Literally.
Y'all remember the variety show like Donnie and Marie and Sonny and Cher? And
Are you kidding?
everybody had a TV show, right?
Yeah.
Dolly and Kenny and like
Glenn
everybody.
Campbell?
Yes.
Sonny and Cher?
Yes, everybody. And that was huge for me. I was a
Yeah.
big Donnie and Marie fan.
Were you now?
I got to do their TV show. And
Wow.
somebody told them, I don't know who did this, but my cousin Dana on my mom's side, she had a pillowcase with Donny Osmond's face on it. And we used to practice kissing Donny Osmond. That was the only thing. I was so young. I'm like, what is this like? You know. And when I did their show, he walked out with a Donny Osmond pillow. I could have died.
Gosh.
I was like, what? On national television, I was red as a beet.
How old were you? When was this?
Okay, so I was obviously like 6th grade when I was kissing Donnie's pillow.
Yeah.
But I was on their show. I mean, it was not long ago, like 10 years ago, or whenever they had their show together.
Their last
their last run, yeah.
Did he talk to you about it?
He did. I'm embarrassed even though I just told
Come
y'all
on,
that.
tell us. Come on and tell us.
He did. He was so sweet about it, you know. But I have that pillow in my studio right
Well,
now.
you better.
I do. And he signed that one, so yes. Yes.
That's funny. So, are there artists in our pool, our genre, that you've yet to, talk to, see? I mean, if Donny Osmond floated your boat like that, like for me as an interviewer, I have yet to interview George Strait.
Oh, right.
That's the one that I want to interview. Is there? You want to go with me, girl?
Me too.
Hook me up. Is there a collaboration or just a conversation with someone that you haven't gotten to do with yet? I don't know if I said that right, but you know what I'm trying to ask.
I've had the blessing of working with a few people that I dreamed of working with. There was a record I did called The Chain, and it's all cover songs, and my dad played on these records.
I remember that record.
Yeah, and so I got to work with Christopherson and Dolly and Willie and George Jones and John Anderson, and so I was and Harper Simon, Paul Simon's son, sang the boxer with me, and Paul put a guitar part on there.
Wow.
So a lot of people, and I got one person I didn't get to collaborate with because we could never coordinate it, was she left me a voicemail in like 1998, and it was Olivia Newton-John.
Oh.
And I loved her growing up. I used to sing and, all her records, and what a wonderful voice and wonderful person she was.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of people. I think Bernie Taupin would probably be one.
Elton John's
Yes.
Bernie Taupin?
Mm-hmm. As a songwriter.
Wow.
I would love to collaborate with him. I never got to. That's the thing. We were working so much and so many of these
Right.
opportunities that I couldn't, take advantage of and really dive into at the time. But I would still love that, to be able to do that.
Well, you know what? It's not too late.
I know.
And, the good news is that you are always going to have that status that you have worked so hard to achieve, and doors are always going to open because of it, And then once you're in there, your talents as a writer just write another Yellow Brick Road with Bernie Taupin.
Oh, man,
or
wouldn't that be amazing?
something like that.
That'd be great.
Well, what is on your horizon? I mean, you're with us until
Yes.
Saturday night or
Yes.
Sunday morning, and we're
Yes.
thrilled. We are so excited.
Thank you.
Was this an easy yes for you? Had you heard of this cruise, and
I have heard of
do
it.
you like to cruise?
I have worked, I've only been on one other cruise, believe it or not, and that was the Disney cruise when my son was 6 years, or in 6th grade.
Aw.
And that was really fun. That was a trip, though. The kids were running everywhere.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
that was
work.
so kid-focused, and this is completely different. But, yes, I've worked with people that have worked on this particular cruise for years. All the artists say, you've got to do at least one. You got to go do it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're very honored to be here.
We're
Absolutely.
honored to have you here.
Yes. I was seasick yesterday, though.
Were you?
I was. That was a grim day for me, but I'm good today.
Did you
I'm
did you
great.
find the patch?
I have two.
You have two.
I have two on. Yes.
Well, if you need any more, I've got mine on. Y'all? A lot of y'all have yours. No, you've kind of.
Y'all are old. This old hat.
I know.
To you. Y'all don't get seasick anymore, right?
I did though. I had
Yeah.
not ever been on a cruise before coming to be able to have the blessing of being the host. Not the celebrity host, but you know what I'm saying. So
Yes.
the patch is important, and we're
Yes.
just use it. It works.
It does.
Well, what about the future? What's going on in your world?
We
What
are
can we-
so excited because we've been touring like crazy. Everybody's been, all the fans and friends have just been so kind to come and see us. So we got, it was about 100 shows the last few years.
Wow.
Averaging.
That's big.
And just busy working. So, and I've been co-writing with some new artists. It's been 2 years now, but I did write with Lainey Wilson.
Oh,
and,
nice.
some other artists that are up and coming, and that is just thrilling for me to mentor, really. I'll give them my phone number and say, if you have a question or you need something, call me, because I didn't have that. I didn't have like
wow.
a sister artist
Yeah.
to call and talk to if you're asked to do something, or just something to bounce off of people, because you have so many people on your team when you get to this certain level
Yeah.
that sometimes it's hard to keep it all straight. So, and a few of them have taken me up on that, which is really, really cool.
What you don't have to, divulge the secrets or anything, but what is a constant that if that question is asked of you, what kind of wisdom can you impart for me or a person that's climbing that ladder because you've been at the top? What is the best advice that you can give them?
Always be grateful.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're grateful, you can't complain. You can't do both those at the same time. Right?
Very true. Very true.
And just when you're in the spotlight, just know, just make that, just feel in your heart that God is looking at you first. He's the one that put you there. He's the one that's given you every opportunity. And you're the one that is going to represent him. And
good.
so, and I don't do that great all the time.
Who does?
We all fail at that, right? But I do. When I get I still get nervous sometimes, and I get all wigged out, or if my day's been crazy. And when I get there and the spotlight hits me, it's like, Scripture says you're supposed to do everything as unto the Lord. So just make sure whatever you're doing, and try to encourage your team members, your band, your people around you to be courteous and kind and patient and all that stuff, because you want to put your best foot forward, and you just have to remember where it all comes from, right?
Amen to that.
Because we come in with nothing, we're going out with
We're
nothing.
leaving with
So
nothing.
while we're here, we just have to really be grateful and give him the credit and try to do the best job you can every day.
Amen to that.
So,
Amen. Very well said.
That's it.
Very well
That's
said.
it.
I'm keeping a close eye on the time because she's got a show in about 48, 53 something minutes. So I want to go to the audience. Can we take a few
Yes,
questions
please,
before we
yes.
have to let you go?
Sure.
Yes, sir, right here.
I remember like it was yesterday when you jumped on Ricky's guy after you got that award.
Yes.
What's your
The CMA award. So he said yes. The question, or his statement was, he remembered when I jumped on Ricky Skaggs at the CMA Awards.
I don't even remember that.
So
Paint the picture of that?
okay,
That's
so
great.
we had just performed, and Ricky and I, Tricia was over there with us, and we were talking about elementary school because Ricky went to my elementary school. It was Goodlettsville Elementary in Nashville. He was a couple years older than me. But we're over there talking about, did you have Mr. Marion or Mr. Weatherman? I said, no, I had Miss Atkins. We're like going through all these teachers. And he had the card to go out there and name the song of the year. He goes, oh, shoot. And he said, I'll be right back. And he went out, and he said, that's why he said, well, I'll be the pride of Goodlettsville, Deana Carter, and Strawberry Wine. And I just went out there doing my cheerleading jumps is what happened. Because I was so freaked out because I was not ready for that. And then I jumped on him, and that was on the cover of USA Today and all this stuff. My underwear showing, like something's going to, keep you humble, whatever it is. But
That's great. I
yes,
didn't know that at all.
He had said he had just had his back adjusted that day by his chiropractor. He's
well,
like,
good thing you're light.
oh, well, he had a look on his face in that picture. Yeah. Thank you. That's so funny. Yep.
been fans of your whole career?
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, and my name is Deana with one N. I know people have asked me on this boat, they'll say, how do you pronounce your name? Which I appreciate that so much.
Deana.
Right, one N, like Dean with an A on the end.
But it's after Dean Martin. And did I
Right.
read that right?
My dad had a song that Dean Martin recorded called "It Just Happened That Way," and
Wow.
so that's why it's spelled Dean.
Dean.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm learning
Yes.
so much. And
Yes.
now that I've always been a fan, and I think you've got plenty of fans, but I don't know about y'all. We're not quite done, but I don't know about y'all. But I'm just even bigger now that
Oh.
I'm learning to know you more and hear more about you. You know, you always want to know that the people that you like and admire are just as nice backstage or, you know, in this setting as they are on stage. And girl,
Thank you.
you're a good one. Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
You're welcome. That's the truth.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but haven't you been on a couple of Walmart movies with country artists?
I have been in a few.
It's about country music.
Yes.
You've done some acting?
I have.
Well, all right.
I did. It's funny when I grew up in Nashville, born and raised, and then I went to California in 2000 and was there for 20 years. I lived in LA for 20 years.
Did you?
And what they've gone through, the fires, has been crazy. It's been so heartbreaking. But I say I've lived in LA 20 years, and every crowd goes, oh, like that. And I laugh because it's, it seems worse than it is. But it was a wonderful place, and I learned a lot. And I did acting. I did some television and sitcoms and little dramedies and a few things.
What were they?
I did a show called Strong Medicine. I did a show with Bob Saget.
Oh, wow. From Full House, Bob Saget?
Yes, I did a show with him. I did just a couple of appearances here. I'm trying to think of a few more. I've done like blue collar TV and skits and things like that.
Oh,
But I did a series of films. Yeah,
on
yeah.
Hallmark.
We're always like the retired star.
I know.
The new stars come up.
Yeah, I'm the town sage who's now imparting my wisdom on the newbies, and
And that's pretty much in real life, too. Isn't that interesting? Did you like acting?
I love it. I really do. I love television. I'm very comfortable,
Yeah.
like reading a prompt. I want to do Fox News someday. Someday, John Rich and I are going to have our own news
I think
show.
that would be wonderful.
No.
I think that would be wonderful.
But I love reading the prompter because
Yeah.
that's helpful as opposed to having to memorize all your lines. But yes.
Now I got to go watch some, pull up some things and see you do.
Yes.
See you act. I think that's brilliant.
It's a very country Christmas and a very country wedding and a very country honeymoon and a very
Of
country
course.
the series. But I would love to do that. That'd be great.
Well, we would love to see you
More
in,
of it.
in any setting like that. It
Thank
is
you.
time, so we need to let her go. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Nan.
You are just what? Do you all agree with me? Are you just not
Oh.
bigger fans of hers now? Deana Carter, everybody.